congratulations on the film.
Thank you.
We spoke to you at LFF when we did Lion, and then the next film you were going on was to do this. I mean, what was the initial kind of draw for you when you got the script for this one?
Well, I was just kind of astonished that her story had never been told before, and I think that was the first thing that struck me. And then it was the first time I'd read a story from this period and this history that made sense to me. It was kind of a real spiritual telling of it, so I felt very compelled to make it.
Absolutely. I mean, there's been many films about Jesus, about Mary Magdalene. I mean, for you, what was the kind of the biggest thing you wanted to bring to this one? Kind of, I guess, a new angle on things.
Well, I think at the core, what I loved is that it celebrated our true humanity and reminded us that through love we can bring liberation and change. So I love that thematically. I also thought it was an amazing opportunity to create a world that was very human and kind of get under the skin of all of these characters. Most biblical films before us have been very removed from that, and I just thought I'd like to make something that's relatable to the modern world.
We just spoke to the producers, and they said as soon as you came on, Rooney was the first person you mentioned and said she'd be perfect for this. You worked with her on Lion. I mean, when you read the script for this, what was it about her that made her perfect for this?
Rooney is the most unique person and such a spectacular actress, but for me she's interesting because in the silences I think she just opens up these universes for the viewer, and she has this otherworldliness, and they're all the qualities that I think Mary needed to have. You know, it kind of, for me, evoked that sense of her spiritual calling, her connection to God, and her yearning for something that's outside of this world. So Rooney just had that in spades. So, I had to work with her.
Absolutely. I want to ask you about some of the locations, because they're so rich with detail and history and everything else. Was it important for you to shoot in the right places for this one?
Yeah, I mean, in all my work, locations are very important. I like to remind people that we live on a planet in nature and we're a part of something more than our stories, if you know what I mean. So it's a big part of my filmmaking. So the first thing I did is I went to Israel and retraced her steps and met all the anthropologists and archaeologists, and realised that at the time it wasn't just a desert. There was vegetation and rich fishing communities, and so that was really liberating for me, because every other biblical movie was either shot in Morocco or a desert. So I thought, wow, this has never been told before. So we travelled the world, and we found that Italy was very close to the geography of what we looked at. So that was fantastic. And the other thing that I loved was that the second temple was an enormous structure. I think it's like the largest structure that humans have ever built in history. It's 16 football fields in size, and it had never been put on film, so I was really determined to kind of capture the scale of that. Italy was kind of amazing.
I just wanted to ask you briefly about working with Jóhann Jóhannsson, obviously very sadly passed away recently. I mean, what was it like working with him? Because he's got such a unique kind of musical voice, if you like. What was it that made him perfect for this? But also, what was it like working with him on this project?
Well, I decided to choose two composers. So he was co-composing with Hilda, and the reason why I did that is because I think they could complement each other. I mean, Hilda just had this great affinity with Mary. I don't think she really understood her. And then Jóhann had this kind of otherworldliness, which kind of connected with that spirituality. So I think together it was a very fascinating combination. And sadly, sadly he passed. But the song that he focused mostly on was a piece of music about ascension. So anyway, it's very sad.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's next for you? I mean, do you have your next project lined up?
No, I don't.
No. Fishing around.
Having a read. Literally fishing around.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey